some reason. Okay, there we go.
There we go.
What we're going to talk about today, my name is Robert Gowell, and we're going to talk about lead generation and prospecting for sale by owners. And if you're a realtor, most of them do not like to prospect for sale by owners, but I think after today's class, you're not going to mind it at all. You're going to see that this is a great strategy I have for you. Okay, with that said, here's the game plan for the next hour. Okay, I'm going to start by just giving a slight recap of last week's class. I don't want to forget about it. I don't just want to share a strategy and move on. I'd like to just talk briefly about what we did last week and then build on it. We're going to dig deeper today into probably the most important topic in real estate is lead generation and how you should not be waiting for the phone to ring. I'm going to give you some prospecting tips, things that will help you get on the phones. It'll make you feel more comfortable. It'll shed some light on some things maybe you're curious about, but I like to call them 12 prospecting tips. Okay? From there, I'm going to share 4 scripts that work. I've tried many scripts, and I've had a lot of different coaches throughout the years, and I have 4 scripts where there's really no selling involved. I'm going to share them with you, so definitely stick around for that portion of this webinar. Okay? Next is we're going to talk about 5 top seller objections. Here you are, you're trying to get your foot in the door, and for sale by owner, they have objections, and we're going to address 5 of those today. And then 10 things you should be doing to implement these strategies and get out there and start making some money and really get in the game here within the next 30 to 60 days. If your business has been struggling, or if you want to take it to the next level, implement these 10 things at the end, and you're going to see a huge increase in about 60 to 90 days in your business. Okay, so there's the game plan for today. How does that sound, Paul?
That's fantastic. And what's cool about this game plan, and kind of as you plowed through and showed me a little bit of the PowerPoint beforehand, guys, girls, you can literally get off this call and 20 minutes later be implementing the things and utilizing the scripts that you're going to see here today. So make sure you've got your doors locked, your cell phones off, and your listening ears on.
Yeah, at least for an hour.
At least for an hour.
Give yourself this hour for you. So let's jump right in. Here's a little recap of last week. I talked about the 6 basic skills you need to have to be a great realtor. And number 1 is lead generation. Number 2, database management. You have to learn how to prospect to people, have some prospecting skills. When people invite you over, you have to learn how to give a great presentation or present yourself well. You're going to hear all the reasons why they don't want to use a realtor, so you're going to have to be good at handling objections and solving problems. And then really from there, it's about the follow-up. Now, I highlighted 1 and 3 today. That's lead generation and prospecting, and I did that because that's what we're going to spend today's class on. It's really these 2 things, and like Paul said, 20 minutes after we get off the phone, you could start implementing these strategies, and they will work. You will have an appointment by the end of the day if you implement these strategies. So let's start with number 1, lead generation. Okay? And, you know, I coach a lot of realtors across the country, and I get this from time to time. Why are leads the first thing you start with? Because in my opinion, leads is the gas that drives the car.
Mm-hmm.
You see 2 pictures there. You know, which one resembles your business? Is your real estate business on the side of the road? Are you out of gas? Or is your business just flying? And I guarantee if your business is flying, like that car over on the right-hand side of the screen, it's because you have the quality leads. If you're on the side of the road, if you're broken down, if you're struggling, I guarantee you got a leads problem.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the leads is the gas that drives the car.
Well, everything else kind of stems from that lead. You know, your follow-up, your database manager, all of those other things, your problem solving, that comes from generating the lead first and foremost.
Well, think about it. I mean, you could go buy this beautiful automobile, and if you don't put gas in it, it's just sitting in the driveway. So that's like your real estate business, man. I mean, is it moving or is it just sitting? And if you want it to move, and if you want it to move fast, you know, we got to put some gas in the tank. And that's what the leads are. So when I went to that mastermind over at Carl's office, there was a lot of people talking at that session about advertising and then different ways to make the phone ring. And I heard it like 3 times. Well, this is what we do to make the phone ring, and, I tried this strategy, and then I wait for the phone to ring, and so what do you guys think we should do to make the phone ring? And my philosophy is, don't ever wait for the phone to ring. I mean, why would you wait for a phone to ring? My opinion is, when you walk in that real estate office, if you walk in on Monday, you go on the offense Monday morning. Why wait for the phone to ring? Go on the offense, pick up the phone, and make the calls. But I know the problem. You don't have enough leads to make the calls. So here's just a suggestion that I have. Buy your leads. And I figured this out years ago, that you can buy quality leads. So what type of quality leads? Well, if you're a real estate agent, I'd look into buying some for sale by owners, possibly some expired listings. And with all the short sales today, why not buy some Liz Pendant leads and try to go out and get yourself some short sale listings. And there's different programs out there, but you can spend anywhere from $40 a month, maybe if you're just buying the for sale by owner program. I have all 3 of these programs with a service called the Red X, and I think my last bill was about $111 and change. That's why, just to be safe, I put on the bottom there, you can spend anywhere from $40 to $115 a month. It just depends what you want, right?
Absolutely.
So I always have realtors, when I teach on this topic, they say, listen, I got in the business, I really can't afford to get on some leads program. Why do I need to buy leads? I mean, can't I just go in the MLS, find expired listings? Can't I just go to the newspaper, find some for sale by owners? Again, so why do I need to buy leads? Okay, so here's my answer to that. Okay, how long does it take if you were to do the research and to pull all your own leads? As a real estate agent, I know that expireds are a service that a lot of real estate agents like to work. Why? Because at one time they were sold on using a real estate agent. They signed a contract maybe for 6 months or a year. The property did not sell, and they're looking to relist. Well, what agents do, Paul, is what they'll do is if they know their listing's expiring by the end of the week, they'll go into the MLS and they'll delete all that contact information out for the seller. His name, his phone number, all the stuff that was in there for the last 6 months, they'll delete it and get rid of it. They're going to make it difficult for a realtor to go in and do some research to find the expired. So if you come in on Monday morning and you say, well, I want to pull, there's 30 expireds in my area, I want to pull all them listings. Now you got to pull all the listings in the MLS. You have to track down all the sellers' names, who owns the property, where they live, and possibly their phone number. And this can take all day. And a couple of bullets at the bottom, this is just my opinion. If you're researching your own needs, you're wasting time. Spend your time doing highly productive activities. I remember hearing Carl saying it's absolutely true that if you spend all day working $10 an hour activities, you're worth $10 an hour. So you need to spend time as a real estate agent doing highly productive activities. Your best time is spent on the phone. You do not have time to spend pulling leads. So here's a couple of recommendations. I have no stock or stake in any of these companies. The only reason I'm going to recommend 2 of them is because I've used them. And I've used them for years, and I think they're both good. My favorite is called the Red X. And there's another one that's a service called Land Boys. And you can buy for sale by owner, expired as list and leads from either one of these. And I'm sure there's more services out there, but again, the reason why I recommend the 2 of these is because I've used them. And
now, Robert, with your experience, are those 2 sites, are those membership sites, or you just purchase the leads as need be, or are you signing up for a full membership with those? Just for those that are interested in checking those out.
Yeah, that's a great question. It's a monthly membership. I've never had to sign a contract. A lot of times you can get a free trial for a week or 2 weeks, so that you might want to try a free trial. Like I said, most of them you're going to be looking, if you just want a for sale by owner list, you're going to be looking at anywhere between $35 and $40 a month. That's going to give you so many leads. If you want to add the expireds in, you could be spending about $89 a month for sale by owners and expireds. And I threw in the list pendants. Like I said, my last bill was about $111, $112 for sale by owners, expired, and list pendant fees.
Okay.
But that's a monthly thing, and you can cancel at any time.
Hey, Robert, just real quick, a couple of people mentioned that the audio's, are you able to get the mic any closer to you?
Let's see, how's this? Is it any better? I think it slipped down a little bit. Can you hear? Any better?
It sounds similar. It sounded okay to me. Just a couple of people have mentioned, so it may be just the phone line is not as clear as it could be.
Okay. How about that?
That's definitely a little bit better.
Okay. I apologize. I'm walking around. I have to walk around while I talk, so that might have slipped down a little bit. But just interrupt me again. Okay, so let's keep going on. So here's what I did this week. I wanted to give you an example of what I see when I come into the office on Monday morning. Here's my Red X, and this is this week. So I didn't pull up anything. This isn't a slideshow that I made 5 years ago. I updated this slide this week. Okay, so on the left, you see where it says for sale by owner leads or FSBO leads up top, and on the right, it'll say expired leads at the top of the column. Well, my for sale by owner leads, I went back 1 month in Red X. There was 110 for sale by owner leads sent to me. They were all over $100,000. I won't call anything under 100. So they were a minimum of $100,000 in the towns that I work, all within about 20 minutes from my office. There was 110 of these new leads in 1 month. And I went back 4 days on the expired listings, and there were 33 new expired listings in the last 4 days. I did this research on Monday, and the last time I pulled expired was Thursday. So this was Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday night. And those 4 nights were 33 new expireds. So let's do some math real quick, okay? Red X is on pace right now to get me about 200 leads this month. So, Paul, why would I ever have to come in on Monday and wait for the phone to ring? I have 200 leads in a month. That's enough for a calling session, right?
At least.
Yeah, that's 2,400 leads per year. Let's keep doing some math. Now, the FSBO and expired membership, we talked about this. If you went FSBO and expired, you're looking at $89, $90 a month. If you do in the list pendant, about $112. So basically what I'm doing, let's just talk about if I did the FSBO and expired, because that's where I think you should start. That's just a recommendation. If I take the FSBO and expired membership and let them debit my card $89 a month, I'm trading $1,068 per year for over 2,000 leads. I said 2,400, but let's bring it down a little bit. I'm paying about 50 cents for somebody else to go out and do the research and get me the names and phone numbers of people who are selling their home and email. Okay?
Already
So
made a decision that they're going to sell, not needing to be sold on whether or not this is the right market to buy their home. They've already made the decision. They've already said that they're going to do 50 cents a lead. Now, in a previous life, I was in the lead business, and we were getting $5 a lead. And it was worth it to the people who bought them from us because they knew that was their call list, and that was who they had as prospects. Now, out of 2,000, I don't know, let's have a raise of hands. How many of us think we can get one deal out of 2,000 people to call? I got my hand straight up in the air right now.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, it's almost to the point of ridiculous. And that's what we look for when we look for a good strategy to use. What makes a good strategy? And to me, it's all about return on investment. I mean, let's face it, I'm sure anybody on this phone call, we'd pay $100 a lead if we knew that they were going to buy. If they were going to buy a $300,000 home and I got a 3% commission and I was making $9,000, I'd pay $1,000 for that lead if I knew it was guaranteed. But the point is, most of our leads, we don't know if they're guaranteed. And like you were saying, Paul, your leads program was $5. The last coaching program I was in, it was $25 to $35 a lead. And that's why I dropped out of that program, because I thought, you know, I don't want to spend $35 a lead when I can get it for 50 cents and just do the work myself and make the call. Does that make sense?
It absolutely makes sense.
I mean, it's really to the point of ridiculous. So going down to what you said, so I'm trading $1,068 for 2,000 leads. So one $200,000 sale, if I get a 3% commission, it means I'm bringing a $6,000 check back to my office. So if I'm bringing a $6,000 check to my office, my leads for the year were just over $1,000. So this is well worth it. Here's what we know. I've heard 60, 70, 80%, but I've known without a shadow of a doubt that 50% of the for sale by owners, they're going to list with a realtor in 4 to 6 weeks, at least 50%. It's probably higher, but I want to think the lowest common denominator. So 50% are going to throw in the towel. So in 4 to 6 weeks, with you making the calls, the people who weren't interested in the beginning, those leads are now right. It's kind of like the green banana, yellow banana. We've all been to the grocery store. We've all bought green bananas before, and sometimes all they need to do is sit out for a few days or a week, and these bananas, you know, they turn yellow and they become ripe. And that's what happens with leads sometimes. We try to convert this thing in the early stages, and it's like eating a green banana. It doesn't taste good. It's not ripe. It doesn't work. Sometimes you have to let the lead ripen up a little bit, and it's ready to go. So in 4 to 6 weeks, your leads are ripe. So if you start with no experience within 30 to 60 days of working my program, if you're making the calls and doing the work, guess what? You're busy. It only takes, you could have absolutely no business. Your car could be on the side of the road broken down, like that example I did in the beginning. Your business is broken down, and in 30 to 60 days, you go, what the hell happened? I am so busy. Because hundreds of leads, working the phone in 30 to 60 days, it starts to work. So then the question is, okay, Robert, so I do that, get these leads, make these calls, but I want to get them listed. Well, let's talk right now. Let's shift gears away from lead generation. Let's talk about how you can get some of these listings. Okay, so we bring up the 6 core skills. We already went through lead generation. You saw my recommendation. Talk about number 3 right now, which is prospecting. You know, it's every real estate agent's favorite. So I'm going to start off with 12 prospecting tips. Number 1, time block. 4 to 6 hours a week for prospect. And that's not a lot. If you work a 40-hour week, blocking off 4 to 6 hours to do one of the most important tasks, if not the most important task, other than lead generation, this is where it's at. My goal is always to try to get 1 appointment per hour. So if you block off 4 to 6 hours, you're going to get 4 to 6 appointments a week. The goal is to call 60 to 90 leads a week. That's why we have to buy the leads. We have to get the lead, because there's no way if I ask you to go out and uncover these leads on your own, you're going to be able to uncover 60 to 90 new leads a week. You've got to let somebody else do the research. Don't take incoming calls when prospecting. I was coaching some students here in my office the other day, and we got one guy who was totally not sticking to his schedule. We revamped his plan. We sat down. Last week he had his best week because he stuck to his schedule and he made his calls when he said he would. And then today, or excuse me, yesterday, he was supposed to come in on Monday and make his calls again and start his second grade week. And I didn't see him. So when I saw him later that day, I said, hey, how come you didn't make your calls today? And he said, oh, one of those calls I made last week, they wanted to list. So I went over there and I listed them. But see, I have a problem with that. It's list them at a different time. He did not have to go on Monday morning to list that prospect. He could have told that prospect I can come over, on a Wednesday or Thursday. I can come over Tuesday or later on Monday. The point is you have to stick with the prospecting time. And you have to continue to prospect even when you get business, and that's what keeps the flow going. Does that make sense?
It absolutely, and I'm so glad to hear you saying that, because that's something I work on with my members on a regular basis. Is time blocking. It sounds so easy in theory. Time block 4 to 6 hours a week to prospect. Sure, I'll do a couple hours a day. No big deal. In reality, being able to stick it, the best time blockers are able to stick to their time block about 90% of the time. And I'm talking about the best time blockers, the most successful people in time blocking. It is a difficult thing to do, but the reality is if you can master time blocking, if you can figure out how to set that 2 hours on Tuesday to make those calls and know that that is the most important thing on Tuesday, even though you've got a listing and you're going to get this listing, it's going to be fantastic, but knowing that those calls are the most important thing, that you have control of your schedule. You just have to make sure that it's just about setting expectations, but it's much harder than it appears.
It is. I couldn't agree with you more. It's not that hard, but in a way you're right, Paul. It is that hard because you could have an agent walk up to you and say, I need help, and you could show them a good time blocking exercise, and they go, I get it, I understand it. I'm going to be in tomorrow. I'm making my calls for 3 hours. They make 5 calls, and all of a sudden somebody calls an incoming call, and they answer it. And it could be a client going, hey, you listed my house 2 weeks ago, and we got an issue. The realtor just showed it yesterday, and he left the lights on, and he put my dog in the back porch, and he locked up, and my dog was on the back porch all day. It's hot outside. I can't look. So I don't want to take that incoming call while I'm prospecting because that just ruined my whole prospecting session.
Sure.
I got caught off guard. So why don't I continue prospecting? Let that angry seller's voicemail go into my voice message, and when I'm done prospecting at 11 or 12, I'm going to call, I'm going to hear that message, I'm already going to call and get the answer and find out what happened so that when I call the seller back, number one, I'm not being caught off guard, and number two, I may even have the answer for it.
Mm-hmm.
And you also accomplished, you did your prospecting today. So don't take incoming calls when possible. Next, don't try to sell anything over the phone. I've got programs here at Alexa Realty where we'll list your house for 10% all the way down to $99 if you just want to go in the MLS. And I had a new associate. She figured that was the best way to get business. She was calling people up, offering them the $99 put your home in the MLS program. And she came up to me 2 weeks ago and she said, I'm struggling with my calls. And I said, well, what are you doing? And she goes, well, I figured since most people, they're trying to avoid paying 6%, I figured I would call them up and tell them that I could list their home for $99. She goes, I called all day and I didn't get any appointments. And I thought, that just sounds too good to be true, right, Paul? What do you do if somebody calls you with a special offer on the phone and it just sounds too good to be true? What does it sound like?
It sounds like BS, and I'm probably going to tell you to send me something. Yeah, send me something in the mail or on email. I'll get back to you.
Because what you did is you just gave me the polite blow-off, right?
Absolutely.
Because they're expecting, hey, I'm going to list my home. I don't want to list my home because I don't want to pay 6%. Now I got this guy Paul on the line, and he's telling me instead of 6%, he can do $99. He's scamming me. He's BSing me. There's a lot of these guys out there today. I don't even know this guy, and send me something I'm not interested. So number 4, don't sell anything over the phone. Number 5, just a realization before you start prospecting that 50 to 60% of the for sale by owners, they won't even answer the phone. That's why I asked you to make 60 to 90 calls a week, because you can cut that in half, or you can cut that by 60%. And so if I go on to the next one, so let's say you do 60 calls. You don't do 90, you do 60 calls a week. We'll only expect to talk to about 24 to 30 people. So again, you have to make the 60 calls just to get through to 24 people. So let's keep going on. If I get 24 to 30 people to answer the phone and have a conversation with me, my goal is for 5 of them to let me come over. And I'll tell you, the scripts that I'm going to show you, I think you can get 50% of the people that answer to allow you to come over. And the only reason why I said 1 in 5 or 1 in 6 is because some people will already list it.
Mm-hmm.
Some people, their home's going to be under contract or already sold. So
really, the hard part of it is making those 60 to 90 dials. I mean, the hard part is getting them on the phone. Once they're on the phone, it's it's going to be fairly easy for you to get those appointments, and those are, to me, they're as good as listing appointments.
Well, they are, especially with the script that I'm going to show you, because like I said, I've been coaching agents for the past decade. I've been coached by about a half a dozen coaches through my 15 years. And I've been given some advice that I was told to make people a special offer or sell them on a special program. And I just don't think any of that works anymore. So I am going to share a script that has no selling involved. It is so non-threatening, you're just going to want to pick up the phone. And that's part of the reason that I would blow off some of my call days. Because going into a call session, if you know you have to call somebody, try to trick them, try to tell them about a fancy program you got or some special offer, that tells me that I got to sell somebody something, and I don't feel comfortable selling a bunch of stuff over the phone. That's just not me. So instead of doing that, I'm just going to avoid my calls today.
Mm-hmm.
But if you knew that your script really involved no selling at all, just asking a simple question or questions, and then seeing if you could come over and see the home, well, then why not make the call? Next, the only reason for calling, bullet point number 8, is to get a face-to-face appointment. That's the only reason for calling. Not to talk to them about a listing, not to talk to them about a commission, not to talk to them about anything. The only reason you're calling is to get that face-to-face time. Number 9, agree with what they say to get the appointment. And this is what I did wrong for years. I knew I wanted a listing, and I knew I wanted a 6% commission. So I would call some for sale by owner. They'd say, bring me a buyer, and I'll pay a 2% commission. And years ago, I'd start arguing with them. Well, 2%, I mean, the average real estate agent gets a 6% commission, and, even if I was to bring you a buyer, I would expect a 3%. I mean, how do you expect to get it sold at a, all I was doing, excuse my language, I was pissing people off.
Yep, arguing with them.
I'm a stranger, so I call you on the phone, Paul answers, and he doesn't want to talk to me anyways, so I argue with him. That's how I handle him. I argue with a stranger who doesn't like me anyway. So how do you think Paul really feels? He can't stand me. So, when Paul says, hey, Robert, bring me a buyer, I'm only going to pay a 2% commission, you know what I say? It sounds great. It sounds great. Awesome. Tell me a little bit about your home. I'd love to come see it. Because if I am going to sell him on a commission, guess what I'm going to do that, Paul?
Face-to-face.
That's bullet point number 10. Any selling that will be done in person. That's it. They're going to tell you, I'm not listing with an agent. I don't like it. Well, that's great. I don't like half of them either. We got something in common. So any selling that will be done face-to-face. Number 11, after your prospecting sessions, So very, very important. We'll do a class on this. Put the notes in your database. You're dealing with, you make 60 calls a week, 24 people answered. I mean, you're going to have notes next to 24 names. And you should take the time when you're done to go back and put the notes in. Somebody might say, hey, you called me at a bad time. I'm at the airport. I'd really like to talk to you. I'm going to be back in 2 weeks. We're not going to remember if you're doing 60 calls a week, 90 calls a week. So that's the purpose of your database, is to put the contacts in, put the notes in, put little reminders in, so that the alarm goes off on your computer. Call Mr. or Mrs. Seller back from the airport or back from up north, talking about selling their home. Okay, so there's 11 of the 12.
Well, without even mentioning it right there, you're talking about already setting up the follow-up the follow-up process, so that each of these people continue to become a prospect or move through a pipeline of prospecting.
And if you don't get them this time, maybe you get them next time.
Exactly, exactly. Like you said, it's 4 weeks. You got 4 to 6 weeks before it becomes ripe. So if I can, based on what you talked about last week is, the average salesperson, 44% give up after the first call, 22% give up after the third no. Well, I got 6 weeks to get no's to get to that almighty fourth no, where I know that the next thing is a yes.
And you'll be surprised how many people you lose in the meantime, right?
Mm-hmm.
They fall out. These real estate agents just fall out. So there's 11 out of 12, and I put the 12th one on a separate slide. And number 12, most important tip when prospecting, don't take it personally. It's a numbers game. My coach gave me this advice. He said, look, when you're calling people, you're calling strangers. And, I've had people, they've been mean to me on the phone, they've hung up on me, and I used to get upset. I used to hang up and be like, God, I was a jerk. That person was so mean. And I remember a coach telling me years ago, you just don't know what that person has gone through. Mm-hmm. And I'd like to share my Bill Silva story. It was a gentleman down in St. Petersburg, Florida. But I remember the first time I called this guy, he just kind of went off on me. He was not nice. He was short, kind of raised his voice. And needless to say, this guy had no interest. But years ago, I would have crossed him off my list. And I remember what my coach said, that you never know what somebody is going through. So what I did is I just put a note that call Bill in 2 weeks. Here's a guy that pretty much went off on. 2 weeks later, I call, and he's now asking questions. He's curious. Still didn't invite me over. He was still a little short, but he did ask a few very important questions. And again, a couple more weeks went by, and I followed up again. And the third time, I ended up booking the appointment, listing the home, made over a $10,000 commission, and come to find out, the day of the first call, he had found out that his wife left him. And that's why he was short, a little rude. And again, you just don't know what's going on in someone's life. So, hey, if my wife leaves me, and I've got 2 boys, and I'm in a horrible mood, and some guy calls me an hour or 2 later trying to sell me something, I'm probably going to bite his head off. And I'm a nice guy, but, I'm just not in the mood to deal with a salesperson right now. I mean, what do you think, Paul?
Absolutely. And you know what, there's testimony in that had you taken that, kind of like most salespeople, I'll be honest with you, I don't know that I would have had the intestinal fortitude to call back the second time. I've done the calling and those things and been in that position where, you get your skin thick and you take the no's as well as the yeses and you move on. Boy, it takes a lot to pick up the phone and call that person again, knowing that maybe it was just a bad day. Give it another shot. And lo and behold, the person asked you some questions, and that opened up that third call. And had you just taken that first feeling of, well, that guy's a jerk, and I'm never calling him again, and hanging up the phone, that's $10,000 you didn't make last year.
Yeah, and see, that's the purpose is, look, you might call them the second time, they might be rude with you again. This might only work. You might try this out on 30 mean people. Okay, if you call all year long, you get 30 to 40 people. This might work only 3 times, but if you can make $10,000 each time by just calling and making those follow calls, you gave yourself a $30,000 a year raise just by, again, implementing another strategy, which is following up, right?
That's the main thing. The main thing to remember with these calls, guys and girls, is that it's not personal. It's not personal because they don't know trust. They don't know you yet. They can't be personal. They have no idea who you are, so it's not personal. They just don't know you. Think about when you get those calls, you know, and what reaction you've got. Don't take it personally, but if you do it the right way, and that's, you know, the scripts that you've got really kind of lean into exactly the right things to say to disarm them, to get them to not feel as if you're that salesperson on the other end of the line, that you are somebody that, come on by, check out my house.
I'm going to share with you something I call mean versus nice, okay? And there's 2 types of people you're going to talk to when prospecting, right? You got this person who's really nice on the phone, and then you got the other person who's, let's say, not so nice. And I want you to follow my logic on this one. How many people do you think call for sale by owner? How many realtors? Lots of realtors, right? So if somebody's really nice on the phone and they're willing to let you come over, how many other realtors have they been nice to? And how many other realtors did they say, come on over and see my home? Let's just throw out a number. Let's just say 20. So I'm a nice guy. You call me, Paul. Yeah, come on over, see my house. You seem like a nice guy, Paul. Well, I just invited 20 of Paul's over, 20 of you. Then you got the person who's not so nice, likes to bite people's heads off when you call them. And you find a way to get in with him. You follow up and you find a way. There might only be 1, 2, possibly 3 agents out of 20 that get in with this guy. So let's take a look 4 to 6 weeks down the road when either of their properties do not sell and they're both Mr. Nice and Mr. Mean. They're both looking for a realtor. Well, the nice guy that let you over, he's got 20 choices. I mean, he's got 20 realtors lined up. He's got to pick one. He's got very low odds with the nice people. And the mean people, the people that hung up, no realtors even call that guy back. They can't stand him. I'll take my chances. If I had a choice between calling the nice people and the mean people, I would take the mean people all day long, because at the end of the day, over 50% of them are going to need the list, and I would rather be a 1 and 2 or a 1 and 3 odds versus a 1 and 2. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Absolutely makes sense.
That's why I put below, I'll take my chances with the mean ones. So let's go over these 4 for sale by owner scripts. I'm going to pull this first one up because I want you to see why I put some of the words that I put into the script. We have 4 of them. We're going to role play each one. Paul, you can play the for sale by owner, but before we role play it, let's take a look at some of the dialogue. Okay, so this first script is called the Yes, We Are Cooperating script. You can see that up top. Now, all I'm doing is when we do ring ring and Paul says hello, I'm going to just say, hello, may I please speak to the owner of the home for sale at 123 Main Street. And I'm actually saying 3 things in that first sentence, and that's why this first sentence is important. I'm going to establish who the owner is, and if this is him on the phone, because I'm asking to speak to the owner. I'm confirming if there is a home for sale, because I'm saying the owner of the home. They might say, well, you got the wrong number. Our home's not for sale. So
or we just sold it or whatever.
Yeah, so I'm confirming, do I have the owner? Is the home for sale or still for sale? And I'm also confirming the address. Mm-hmm. So when Paul says, you know, this is him, I'm not going to introduce myself, right? I don't want to say I'm a real estate agent, because if I do, if I skip this part of the script and Paul says, well, this is him, and I say, well, hi, my name's Robert Gowell. I'm with Alexa Realty. He's going to say,
I'm good, thank you, goodbye.
Yeah, I'm good, thank you, goodbye. You know, so really what we want to do is we want to establish, I'm going to tell them, look, I understand I understand you're selling for sale by owner. I'm going to tell them right there, I know what you're doing. I'm also going to tell them in the next little part of this sentence, I don't want to interfere with that. Okay, so I'm going to try to tell them, I know who you are. I don't want to interfere with what you're doing. And here's the question. I was just wondering if you were cooperating with real estate agents. And a very common for sale by owner objection is, yes, we are. Bring me a buyer and I'll pay a commission. And I don't disagree. I say, well, okay, that sounds great. Do you mind telling me a little bit about your home? Now, what that does is that gets people talking. What happens when you get people talking about themselves, their kids, or their home? How do they feel about the person who's listening?
Well, that's not a stranger any longer because we're having a conversation.
And how do you feel, Paul, when you're talking, if we meet out and you're talking and I'm real attentive and I'm listening to you, how do you feel about me? Do you feel I care about you?
Yeah, I feel as if what I'm saying is important and you care about what I'm saying to you, especially if you're engaged in responding to what I say.
Wait, so that's the perfect time after I've got you talking about your beautiful home and all the pride of workmanship and all the stuff that you did, that's when I'm going to come in and go, wow, it sounds really nice. Is there a time I could come by and take a look at the property? So, Paul, I'm going to say ring, ring, and then I want you to say hello. You play the buyer owner, I'll play the realtor. Okay, here we go. Ring, ring.
Hello.
Hello, may I please speak to the owner of the home for sale at 123 Main Street?
This is him.
I understand that you're selling for sale by owner, and I'm not trying to interfere with that. I was just wondering, are you cooperating with real estate agents?
Sure. You bring me a buyer, I'll pay you a 3% commission.
Okay, well, that sounds great. Do you mind telling me a little bit about your home?
It's 3-bedroom. It's a 2-bath. I've got the pool in the backyard, hardwood floors throughout, brand new appliances in the kitchen, granite countertops, fireplace in the main living room, 2-car garage.
Wow, that sounds really nice. Is there a time I could come by and just take a look at the property? That's it. Again, if you are going to do any selling, you're going to do so in person. All I'm asking to do, I'm not asking listing, I'm not talking about a listing, I'm not talking about a commission. All I'm asking you to do is, can I come over and see your property? Let's go on to the next one, okay? I'll bring this one up again. Now this one is for the people who are trying to save money. So when you ask them, are you cooperating with real estate, they're going to say no. And a lot of times they won't give you an answer why. You know, well, why aren't you cooperating? So what I do is I'm going to give them 2 choices. When they say they're not cooperating with realtors, I call it the 2-pen test. Try this one time. When you're in a conference room or you're sitting next to somebody, take 2 pens, put one in your right hand, one in your left hand, different colors. Reach them both across the table. You know what someone's going to do? They're going to pick one. Okay? So that's what I'm doing is I'm not going to wait on them to tell me what their objection is. I'm going to do the 2-pen test. I'm going to hand 2 objections to them over the table, and they're going to choose one of the 2. And I already have each one of those handled on the next 2 scripts. So this first one is when they're trying to save money, which a lot of for sale by owners are. So again, Paul, I'm going to grab a sip of water here. I'm going to say ring, ring, and you're going to say hello, and then we'll take it from there. Ready?
Yep.
All right, here we go. Ring, ring.
Hello.
Yes, hello. May I please speak to the owner of the home for sale at 123 Main Street?
Yeah, this is him.
Well, I understand that you're selling for sale by owner, and I'm not trying to interfere with that. I was just wondering, are you cooperating with real estate agents?
No, we're selling it ourselves. We don't really need an agent.
Okay. Or are you selling it yourself because you don't like realtors, or just trying to save some money?
No, we don't have anything against realtors. We're just trying to save a little bit of money on the sell.
Well, listen, I appreciate your honesty. Would you mind telling me a little bit more about your home?
I'll tell you about my home, but I'm really not going to be listing with you.
Oh, no, that's fine. I just wanted to know a little bit more about it.
Okay, so it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house. I got a pool in the backyard, hardwood floors throughout, brand new appliances, granite countertops, and a fireplace in the living room.
Oh, well, that sounds really nice. I mean, would there be a time I could come by and take a look at the property? Okay, so again, there's the 2 pens I handed out. When he said he's not cooperating with real estate agents, instead of saying, well, why not? I brought up 2 objections, and when they say they're not cooperating with the realtor, I'll ask them, is it because you don't like realtors or you're trying to save money? And I guarantee 95% of the time or better, if you throw that little objection handler out, they're going to choose one of the 2.
Well,
Okay,
let me
so
ask you, is it majority money? Because nobody wants to feel like they're being a jerk or anything. And no, I just don't like realtors. I mean, you'll get some of those, the mean people, and you get that percentage of the mean people. How many of them go towards the money just because they don't want to be rude?
I would say 8 out of 10.
Okay.
8 out of 10 we'll use this one, and then I'll show you the next script will be for the 2 out of the 10 that say they don't like realtors. Okay? So let's get to the guy next here, Paul, that he just doesn't like realtors. Okay? So let me bring this script up, and let's take it again. So ring, ring.
Hello.
Hello, may I please speak to the owner of the home for sale at 123 Main Street?
Yeah, this is him.
I understand that you're selling for sale by owner, and I'm not trying to interfere with that. I was just wondering, are you cooperating with real estate agents?
No, we're selling it ourselves. We don't need an agent.
Okay. Are you selling it yourself because you don't like realtors, or are you just trying to save some money?
I don't like realtors.
Okay. Well, listen, I appreciate your honesty, but you know, if you don't like realtors, I bet it's probably because you've had a bad experience.
Yeah, I had several bad experiences, and quite honestly, it's not hard. I can do this myself.
I believe you can. I mean, you know, and I understand. But you know, let me ask you: have you ever had a bad experience eating out in a restaurant? I mean, I know I have, but it doesn't stop me from eating out. All I do is choose a different restaurant. I mean, would you mind just telling me a little bit about your home?
Yeah, it's a 3-bedroomer, 2-bath, in-ground pool, hardwood floors, you know,
Well,
2-car garage, that kind of stuff.
Well, sounds really nice. Is there a time I could come by and take a look at it? Okay, so again, when they say they don't like realtors, I just try to say, well, if you don't like realtors, it's probably because you had a bad experience. People say, absolutely, I've had some horrible experiences, and then I'll say, well, you know, let me ask you, have you ever had a bad experience eating out in a restaurant? I mean, I know I have, but it doesn't stop me from eating out. I mean, let's face it, we have all had a bad experience in a restaurant. What do? We just choose a different restaurant. So once you make that point, they're thinking in the back of their mind, you know, I mean, how can you dispute that point? They're like, you know, he's kind of right. And then I quickly go shift gears, and I say, do you mind telling me more about your home? And they'll say, well, yeah, but I'm not listing with you. I say, well, that's okay. I just want to know more about your home. 3-bedroom, 2-bath, in-ground pool, hardwood floors. And then again, it's, wow, that's really nice. Could I come by and take a look at it? Well, again, I'm not listing with you. Well, that's okay. I just want to know, can I come by and take a look at it? Because really, at the end of the day, what are we selling? Ourselves. And if they never get a chance to meet you, then they don't know what they're getting. And, you know, I feel that I've got a great personality. And if I can get in the door, I can build rapport with people very, very quickly. And they're going to tell me, man, we really like you. We're just not ready yet. Well, that's okay. Let me just follow up with you. And like I said, in 4 to 6 weeks, when that banana's ripe, that's, you know, if I get enough of these in the pipeline, I'm just going to start they're going to start dropping within a month or 2, right?
And the thing to remember, guys, is this is a numbers game. This is a numbers game. You're going to, you know, again, 30 to 60 calls equates to, you know, 15 to 20, 25 conversations.
Yeah.
Those 20 to 25 conversations are going to equate to about 5 appointments. So when you ask, well, what's the percentage of people that actually give you the information on the home after this kind of conversation? Well, it looks to be about 25%. Based on the fact that if I make 20, you know, if I'm contacting 20 to 25 people and I have this conversation and I get 5 appointments, That's about that 25, 20 to 25% of what you're going to see. Is that about the numbers that you're seeing? I mean, based on your numbers, and I'm sure you've you've broken this down multiple times just on the sheer number of calls that you make on it. It's very easy to get statistics on your call volume, how many are answering versus how many said yes. It's pretty easy to get those statistics.
Well, if their home is, I can usually get 50%.
Okay.
Of the people. So if I get 12 people to answer the phone and their home is not under contract or it's not listed, I'm going to easily get 6 and just 12 answering. There's no reason why they would not let you come over to see their property. You're not asking for anything other than just to see it. But let's move on because I know we're getting towards the end of the time here. FSBO script number 4. This is for the people who say, I don't even know what cooperating means. So ring, ring.
Hello.
Yes, hello. May I please speak to the owner of the home for sale at 123 Main Street?
Oh, yeah, this is him.
Well, I understand that you're selling for sale by owner, and I'm not trying to interfere with that. I was just wondering, are you cooperating with real estate agents?
I'm not even sure. I'm selling it for sale by owner. No, I don't know what that means. What do you mean?
Well, it means, like, let's say I can help you produce a contract on your home. Would you be willing to work with me as long as you get what you want?
Yeah, I guess so, but I'm not going to list my home with you.
Oh, that's fine. Do you mind telling me a little bit more about your home, though?
Yeah, it's a 3-bedroom. It's a 2-bath. It's got the 2-car garage, little in-ground pool in the backyard, hardwood floors. Got the new countertops and appliances and whatnot.
Well, I mean, that sounds really nice. Is there a time I could come by and take a look at it? So there you go again. And these 4 scripts will be available. I'll put up something at the end if anybody wants them. So let's really go on to 5 seller objections you're going to get. Number 1, what commission do you charge? Okay? Some people will ask that. And, not that we ever want to talk commissions on the phone, but some people, they're just going to want to know what commission are you going to charge me. So write this down. I'll always say, I'll work for whatever we can agree to. Sound fair enough? I'll work for whatever we can agree to. Does that sound fair enough? And I've never had anyone say that doesn't, and hopefully we can agree to 6% when I get out there. Next, bring me a buyer and I'm willing to pay you a 3% commission. You hear this all the time. What I'll do in this situation is I'll just confirm with them that they're willing to pay a 3%. So let me get this straight. If I bring you a buyer, you've got your home listed for sale by owner for $300,000, and if I bring you a buyer, you're definitely willing to pay me a 3% commission. Yes, that's right. Okay, great. How can I come over and see it? Because what that tells me, and that's why I confirm it, is that they're already sold on 3%. So when I get over there in person, since I confirmed it with them that they are willing to pay 3, all I really need to sell them on is the last 3. I don't need to sell them on 6 because they're already sold on 3. So again, when they say they're willing to pay a 3% commission, just confirm it and confirm it again, and then remind them of how you had this talk and they're already willing to pay 3. All they really need to do is kind of work out an additional 3, and there's a huge opportunity for them to be with the realtor and get more exposure for the property. Next, I'm not listing with a realtor. You're going to hear this a lot. I'm not listing, and all I want you to say is, that's okay. I didn't ask you to. Well, you can come over, but I'm not listing with, oh, that's okay. I didn't ask you to list. I might ask you in person when I get there, but I didn't ask you right now over the phone. Okay? So, again, don't get in an argument with them. Just agree with them. Say that's okay. Do you have a buyer for my home? You hear this a lot. Well, if I'm going to let you over, do you have a buyer for my home? I always will say, well, I'm working with several buyers. And the problem is I haven't seen your house yet. My coach used to say, when they would say, do you have a buyer for my home, he used to say, gee, I don't know. I haven't seen your house yet. But I'll always say, and think about it, in your office, the office you work for, are any of those agents working with buyers? So you say, yeah, we're working with lots of buyers in the area, and, to have a buyer for your home. I haven't seen it. That's part of the reason for the call. I'm working with several buyers in the area, and I haven't seen your house yet. So that's why I'm calling. It seems nice. I really want to come see it.
Kind of leads back to those rules that you kind of put up there. Never sell any, no, even if they give you a chance to sell on the phone, don't do it. It never sell anything over the phone. Get face to face and then do your selling. It's a trap. And don't fall into the trap. And then you're going to hear this, I have a friend or I have a family member in the business, and that discourages a lot of realtors. And I think, a lot of times they are going to use their friend or their family member, but a lot of times they won't. Okay? One of my coaching students just looked at a $600,000 home, and their daughter was a realtor. But they went in and they got the appointment, and then they just asked questions like, I understand your daughter's in the business, but is your daughter full-time or part-time? Well, and while she's part-time, she does other things. Well, this is a very big asset to trust with somebody who's doing this part-time and doing 2 to 3 other jobs. So again, you can attack, do the friends do it full-time or part-time? You can also say, a lot of times you want to keep your friends and keep business separately. If you're going through a short sale, some people don't like listing with their friends because there's a lot of important confidential information, and sometimes if a friend sees it, you don't want your personal business or what's in your bank account circling around your group of friends. If it doesn't work out, you can fire me. What happens if you have to fire? So there's a lot of different objections, but again, these are things you want to say in person. So if they say, look, I've got a friend in the business, if I list with anyone, I'm going to list with them, I say, that's fine. All I want to do is come see it. And I'll address the friend issue. We'll do that as another class about what to say when you're on the appointment. It's all just about the call, right? Awesome. And that's a big part, guys, is remember that it's about your entire goal is to get to the house, is to get that appointment, to get face-to-face. Just that's your whole goal. Okay, so we got a few more slides here, and then we'll wrap it up. Here's that Notre Dame study that you were talking about. 44% of salespeople quit after the first time they hear no. 22% of salespeople quit after the second time they hear no. 14% of salespeople quit the third time they hear no. And another 12% of salespeople quit after the fourth time they hear no. Here's what it breaks down to. After 4 no's, 92, let me get this off my screen. Okay, 92% of all salespeople quit between the first and the fourth time they hear no. But look at this, 60%. So the majority of the sales close after the prospect already said no 4 times. So if he says no once, and you're in that 44 percentile that drops out, you're never going to get any business. Well, 8% of the sales force is doing a vast majority of the business because they're getting some of those yeses before the fourth no, but they're getting all of the yeses after the fourth no. Well, there it is right there. 8% of the salespeople are left. Only 8%. So if we lined up 100 real estate agents on one side of the room, there's only going to be 8 of them left when that for sale by owner is ready to raise his hand. He could have met with 100 realtors. 92 of them will never call and talk to him again. There's only 8 still standing when he's ready. And I know 100% by owners don't go see a listing, maybe 20. So when he's ready, there may only be just 1 agent left who's been following up, and that agent needs to be you. So rebounding wins championships. I told this was game 2 of this year's Stanley Cup. The Chicago Blackhawks beat the Boston Bruins, but look at Chicago crashing the net. You got 5 guys on the ice besides the goalie. You got 4 of the Blackhawks trying to get a rebound, and that goal went in the net. So you got a world champion showing you right there, a world championship team showing you it's not the first shot that goes in. We take 1 shot, and then we all jump on the rebound because it's the second, the third, and the fourth shot that creates champions. Anyway, if you're just going to take 1 shot and walk away, you'll never be a champion. That was 2013 Stanley Cup. Here's 2013 NBA Finals. Look at this ball when it comes down. You got LeBron James, and you got 4 of the San Antonio Spurs around.
It's everyone's chasing the rebound. These guys get it, okay? Because the first shot rarely goes in. It's rebounding that wins championships, and it's rebounding and following up that creates champion salespeople. So here's 10 things to do. Let's run through these. This is if you want to change your business. If you don't, you don't have to, but if you want to change it and implement the strategy, here's 10 things to do. Number one, start with a FSBO or expired package. It's $89 a month. Download your leads a couple times a week. Time block was 4 to 6 hours per week of calling time. Call 15 people per hour. I've tracked it. You can get through 15 calls an hour. You should only spend 3 to 5 minutes on the phone with somebody who answers. So if you're making 15 calls an hour, only 7 of them are going to answer live. So 7 people answer live. You spend 5 minutes with each one of them. That's 35 minutes, okay? So that's plenty of time. So 3 to 5 minutes on the phone. Call 60 to 90 people per week, okay? Still with me, Paul?
Yeah, I'm right there. I'm following.
Okay, so call 60 to 90 people per week. Log your results into a database. You don't want to forget. Set up a minimum of 5 appointments per week and follow up with everybody. And the last thing to do, and most importantly, is when they say yes. And when somebody invites you over, just to take this one step further, the 5 words on the bottom. Focus on conversations, not conversions. Okay? When somebody invites you over, don't go in there and act like a salesperson. Just focus on having a meaningful conversation with the sellers. Because if you remember, it's the conversations that turn into conversions. So let me back this up one step, right? So when you walk into somebody's home, you know, I've been there so many times. An agent walks in, he might be from Coldwell Banker. He says, man, my company's #1. Here's the statistics that prove we're #1. Then the RE/MAX agent walks in and says, well, we're #1. Keller Williams walks in, the guy says, we are just the new #1. So how many times has the seller heard somebody's #1? How many times have they heard, I'm hardworking? What makes me stand out is I have integrity. People start using these words, and you know, they've heard that you're hardworking. They've heard from other real estate agents that have integrity. They've heard they're going to go the extra mile. How about just walking in and having a meaningful conversation with them like they were your best friend and really listening and finding out what their wants, what their needs are, how you can help them. And, you know, at the end of the day, they're going to give their listing to the person they feel the most comfortable with. And if you can have a good conversation, the conversation that turn into conversions. So what I did is I got this last slide. I just put my number up there, also my email address. If you would like a copy of any of the scripts today, feel free to email me, and I will shoot you over any of the 4 scripts. And if anybody wants to talk about coaching or a one-on-one coaching, we're starting our coaching program. We're relaunching this in October. So if anybody is looking to take their business to the next level with any one-on-one coaching, what we're doing is the month of September, we're reaching out and we're doing free coaching sessions. One is just to kind of see where you're at, what you're trying to accomplish, and from there we'll be launching this thing in October. But there's my info. If you have any questions, Paul, any last questions?
You know what? Just one quick question that came up a few times in there, and if you could just real quickly address, what do you do when you've got your list of what do you do about the do not call list? How do you handle that part?
Well, I call them, and here's why I call them, because you know the do not call list is to prevent soliciting.
Mm-hmm.
And soliciting to me means selling. It means, you know, people are not allowed to call people on the phone and sell them things.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, if you're selling people things over the phone, you should be fined $11,000. I don't call to sell anybody anything. All I'm saying is, hey, you have a red sign in front of your house that's for sale by owner, right? Yeah. Listen, would you work with a guy like me? Would you cooperate with real estate agents? Oh, tell me about your home, because you got a sign in your front yard. Can I come see it?
Mm-hmm.
So all I'm asking them for is, can I come see your home? I'm not trying to sell them anything.
Absolutely,
So
and I think that's exactly, kind of when those questions kind of got posted, that's where my mindset went was, well, the reality is I'm not selling them anything, and in reality they've made their number public by putting their home for sale by owner out there. If they wanted to not be called on that, then perhaps they should hire a real estate agent who has a number that is going to be called. So, you're not violating any do not call lists, because the do not call list is people who don't want to be solicited from telemarketers and people who are selling things over the phone. You're not selling anything. You're simply calling to ask if they're working with an agent or cooperating with agents, tell you a little bit about the home, and oh, by the way, can I come take a look at it? Now, when you get there face-to-face, there may present an opportunity for you to sell them your services, but that's not discussed over the phone.
Absolutely. And an agent, I work with a lot of agents. I've been wrapping up our September coaching because we do it in blocks, and we're having great success with the products. I had a student last week sign up too, and then another one sign up another one for like $520,000, and it was just a call of, can I come see your home? And it's like, well, I'm not listing with any agents. And so, well, I'm not asking that. I just want to know if I can come see it. And went over there and dressed really sharp and presented themselves very well. And the seller kind of looked at him and said, let me guess, you're here for the listing, right? And the agent joked back with him and said, well, of course I am. They just try to play and have fun and be playful. And the guy said, all right, well, let me tell you what the deal is. We are going to go with the realtor. Give me a week. I like you. Let's see your presentation. And he interviewed two agents after and ended up choosing the one that I was coaching. Her name is Mimi. But it was a $520,000 listing from a 50-cent FedEx. Kind of crazy, right?
Yep. And Michelle said some good stuff here following some of the comments based on what you say. You're calling to a response to their ad to sell their home for sale. End of objection.
Yeah, I mean, look, when you see the do not call registry, it freaks a lot of people out. I would especially call those ones, because those are the ones that are going to, a lot of realtors, they're not going to call. So those are the ones that are a little less beat up. But again, don't sell anything over the phone. It's just about calling to ask them, what does your home have? Tell me about it. Be a good listener, and then say, wow, that sounds really nice. How can I come to it?
Perfect. Guys, girls, we appreciate you here. The biggest comment coming in right now is, how do I get a copy of the recording? How can I get a copy of the presentation materials? All you've got to do, guys and girls, just contact the loan professional who invited you today. They'll be able to get you access to all of those items, including if you missed last week's 6 core values, they can get you access to that recording as well, which kind of gives you, what I'm seeing is based on some of the things that you do on that core value, that's how you tie. I mean, this is part 2 of that. You got to learn what your core values are. Here we're going through a specific strategy that I'm going to tell you, guys and girls, if you start this today, if you take some of the steps and use those and that script, guys, that's a simple script. There's nothing you need to be able to read that script. Each and every one of us know how to say, hey, I'm looking for the owner of the home that is for sale at 123 Main Street. Oh, this is him. Hey, listen, I was just wondering, see your house is listed for sale by owner, and I was just curious, are you guys cooperating with real estate agents? I mean, I can do that without even having to see it right now, and I've only heard it a couple of times. Guys, girls, you could do this right now today and impact your business today. You could impact your business today if you get started on these things. And it's a simple call to make.
And, one of my students that I was working through with, Carl, he was having trouble with his calls. And I said to him, that's nonsense. There's no reason why we should not have appointments. I said, send me over your Red X leads, and you and I will call together. We called on Monday for an hour. We Skyped each other, and 3 appointments in an hour. So about $1 million worth of appointments in 1 hour. So, and so if you did 4 to 6 hours, even 4 hours, we could have created $4 million worth of opportunity. We could have had 12 appointments. I mean, it's just really easy. And that's what we do at our coaching academy is we don't just tell you what to do. We will actually sit down and make the calls with you. You have the list, we have the list, we Skype each other, we go call for call. We'll help you get in the doors.
That's it. Guys, girls, thank you so much for spending your time today. If you would like to become part of our private group, we have a private group on Facebook where you can ask and share ideas, exchange ideas. It's facebook.com/groups/agent mastermind. If I said that too fast and you did not get a chance to write that down, contact the loan professional who invited you today. They can get you hooked up with past recordings, presentation materials, get you set up on the private group. A lot of times help you guys get access and implement these strategies. So don't hesitate to partner up with your loan professional who got you here today. Thank them for providing you with the great material, and get out there and start calling on these FSBOs, because, guys, girls, there's a lot of money out there on the table just waiting to be grabbed. Be in that 3% or that 2% that is doing this strategy, and you will change your business and your income. Robert, thank you once again, my friend. Look forward to seeing you again right here on Agent Mastermind. Ladies and gentlemen, have a fantastic rest of your week, and we'll see you Tuesday right back here, same time, same place. Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Paul, and thank you to everyone who took the time to listen today. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Have a great day, bud.